Hey, welcome back to Engine Shop Joe. This week we took a look at a truck that was hard starting or slow cranking, and it was hard starting because it was slow cranking. And so Jake wasn't sure why. They put all new batteries in it and it didn't solve the problem, so they called me over. So we're just going to go through this and look at a couple simple checks that I did, and then we figured out what the problem was. So this was the tractor. The first thing you got to do is you got to figure out what's, when we're talking about slow crank, what's between the battery post and the starter. So we're looking in a battery box, and I see there's an on-off switch right there for the batteries. So that's a potential problem. The second thing I'm thinking about is the ground circuit. So what we did is you'll see it in a bit, I had Jake take a jumper cable and put it on the ground post in the battery box, and I ran that jumper cable out to the starter ground on the truck. Now right here, I told him to grab all those wires and pull on them hard to make sure none of them moved. We've got the meter in the battery box now, and what we're going to check here is we're going to check voltage drop across the on-off switch and see if it's excessive or not. So I'm getting the meter put in place here, and then we'll see what happens when we crank the truck in just a second here. Now we're going to watch our meter and we're going to see what the voltage drop is across that switch.
Okay.
So here we
Crank
go.
it.
Ready? Cranking.
Okay. Crank it.
We're checking for voltage drop at the starter. We've only got about 1.5 to 2 at the batteries over the disconnect switch, which is in the cab. So we'll see what we got here at the starter. Yeah. Okay, good enough. Now, before all you guys tear me in half for not properly checking voltage drop across a cable versus the way we did it, I know that you're supposed to measure with the voltmeter from one end of the cable to the other end of the cable, and then when you put a load on it, check the voltage drop that's across the meter, okay? And that tells you basically the resistance in the cable. In this case, this truck had new batteries and a new starter, and they were still having random slow crank or no crank. And so I went down there, and my goal when I go down to help Jake is to quickly find out what's wrong and then move on. So when I checked the voltage at the starter, it dropped down into the 8-volt range, and it shouldn't have done that. So I told them you need to change the positive battery cable between the starter and back to the cab or wherever it goes up in there. And the reason I told them the positive was we had put a set of jump starter cables, the old heavy duty ones, from the negative battery cable at the batteries down to the negative terminal of the starter and had the same problem. When we did that on the positive side, we didn't have the same problem. So I knew that the positive cable was the problem. And when they pulled the cable off, they found that it had gotten a nick in it and that there was a large chunk of green wiring inside that positive cable. So they put a new cable on and the problem was fixed. So this was sort of a quick way to quickly assess what the problem was. Unfortunately, he called me after they had put a starter on it and batteries in it. And so he's learning. Okay, so we'll cut him some slack this time. See you next time on Engine Shop Joe.